What's up, guys? Welcome back to the cat vlog disguised as a poker vlog. This is episode number 26, and for this episode I play in the $1,500 World Series of Poker Monster Stack event. There were over 6,700 entrants and it was $1.1 million for first place. But before we get into that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the poker forum site that my brother and I started. It's called offthefelt.com. I'm super impressed with all the insight the people have been giving on it. It's been awesome so far. We've got over 300 members. I've been really involved, sometimes writing essay-long answers on some of the posts. I also gave an announcement of the poker vlogger meetup game that Andrew and I hosted yesterday at Mandalay Bay. That was a big success. We had over 3 tables. It was a lot of fun, and everyone had a great time. I'll probably put the vlog up for that shortly. One last thing is that Andrew made a comment on there saying that I was going to be reimbursing people for their losses if they moved up in stakes, and that's just simply not true. So sorry to disappoint you guys, but please join the site. Everyone's posting and analyzing and improving together on there. It's been a lot of fun so far. And if you guys do share hands, it's possible that in the future I'll be going over them on the YouTube channel. So check it out. Link below in the description box. That's it for that topic though. Let's go ahead and get into the episode. It's June 25th. I'm playing the Monster Stack today. It's a 10 a.m. Start time. It's flight B. They did the first flight yesterday, and I'm really excited. This is one of my favorite tournaments of the year. I played it twice before. I made it to the second day on one of them, and I busted out on the first day in another one, so I'm hoping this will be the year that I cash in it. Did this wine and paint the other day, and you can see how I did here. Hey bud, we gonna win today? You look like a little monster. You got a lot of fans? You wanna say hi to the fans?
Hello guys, it's me, Cosmo. Hello.
How do you think we're gonna do today, bud? Think we're gonna do okay? Head bump for good luck? Just got to the Rio, almost 10 a.m. Really excited about playing today. I like this event a lot. You start out with 300 big blinds, which is awesome. It's much better for cash game players than like the Colossus or some of the 1Ks where you start out with only like 100 big blinds. So should be good. Hopefully I don't get unlucky, especially in the beginning. Let's do this. We jump in and the table looks great. Only one other pro and the rest were there just to have a good time. It's level 1, blinds are 25-50, and everyone starts with 15,000 in chips. After losing a few hands with ace king, ace queen, and pocket kings, I open here on the button to 150 with 8-7 of hearts. The big blind calls and we go heads up to the flop. The flop is 9-6-5 rainbow, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, we've got the straight. The big blind checks, we bet 125. He comes along, makes the call. The turn is the queen of diamonds. He now leads out for 250. I raise to 600. It's a little bit small, probably could have raised a bit more, but he makes the call. The river is the 10 of hearts. The only hands that beat me are king jack and jack 8. There's no reason that he'd have either of those. He checks, we bet 1,400 for value. He throws in 2 yellows and we win. We have a little over 16,000. Nothing too eventful happens until level 3, where we get a little bit carried away. Made it to the second break. Got like 11 or 12K in chips and punted off, I think 3K. Yeah. Made it to the second break, have 12K in chips, punted off like 3K with Queen 4 of spades. This guy who'd been opening a lot and folding to 3 bets opens in, I believe, the hijack. Yeah, he opens from the hijack to 400 when blinds were 75, 150. The button calls, who was a pretty weak player. Then I 3-bet to 1500. I got through the initial pre-flop raiser. He folds. The button calls. The flop comes ace 10 6. I fire c-bet. I bet 1600 and he calls. At that point I was giving up on it. Turn was a blank. It was the 8 of hearts actually, and I checked. He bet 2600 and I folded. Got a little bit back. I got a few walks during that round, which was sweet. So 12K is still fine. Should be in decent shape. After the break, I turned on the jets. It's level 5. Blinds are 150, 300 with 50 antes. I get pocket 7s in middle position and open to 750. The button calls, who late registered. I've known him for a while. He's a friend of the program and the best player at the table. Usually plays 10-20 at the win. He comes along and the dealer puts out 7-4-3 rainbow. We drilled top set. This isn't a board that's going to connect with us too much of the time, since usually when we open from middle position, we're going to have overcards and pairs above 7s. Because this flop shouldn't hit our range too hard, I don't like to slow play it. I bet 700 and my buddy calls. The turn is the king of diamonds. I was hoping it was going to be a low card and I was going to be able to check and give my opponent some rope. Unfortunately, this card helps my range, so if I check, I think it'll get checked back too often. Instead, I bet 1700. The player calls and the river is the ace of hearts. I bet 4300 and this time my buddy lets it go. I win and my stack is now almost 17,000. Now it's level 6. Blinds are 200, 400 with 50 antes. I look down at ace king offsuit in the cutoff. 2 players limp from early position. The player on my right raises it to 1200. I put in a 3-bet to 3700. All 3 players fold. We take down a pot of 3100 without seeing a flop. And for the first time, our stack is over 20,000. We're still in level 6, and this time I look down at pocket queens. It's folded to me in middle position, and I raise to 1,000. My buddy, who I played the pocket 7s hand against, 3-bets on the button to 2,700. He'd been playing pretty solid so far, but I sensed he was after me. I could 4-bet here. I have the 3rd best possible hand. This gives him an opportunity to fold most hands that are worse than mine though. I just call to keep his bluffs in. The flop comes 9-8-3 rainbow. I check. He bets 2,500. I can't fold for that amount. I call. The turn is the deuce of spades. I check. He fires a second bullet, this time for 4,500. I'm starting to get a little worried at how big the pot is getting, but I still can't make the fold when it's such a complete blank on the turn and I've somewhat under-repped my hand. I call, leaving myself with a stack slightly smaller than a pot-sized bet. The river is the 6 of hearts. Great run out for my hand. I check, and now my buddy gives up and checks back. I turn over queens, and he says, way good. Now I've got over 30,000, and I'm on a bit of a roll. A few hands later, I pick up ace-jack offsuit in the cutoff. I raise to 1,000, and again my friend calls me. This time, he's in the big blind. The flop comes king, king 3. He checks. I put out a small bet of 500. He folds. We take it down. I didn't win a hand after that for a while. I opened a few times with ace 10 and ace 8, then got 3-bet and had to fold, but I went into the dinner break with a solid stack. What are we doing? Dinner break right now. I've got about 27, 28K. I think I'm second in chips at my table. Pretty good. Happy with that. Yeah, here with Matt Vaughn.
I've got like 40K, and I think I'm like 5th on my table. It's pretty insane.
Wow.
A lot of chips on. A lot of chips there.
A lot of action in your table, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So table's good. Things are going well.
there's some big hands that level, or the last two levels. I started the last two levels at like 12K and then ran it up to like 32. So it dwindled a little bit at the end, but definitely happy. Still have a lot of tournament left to go.
Once we get back from dinner at Chipotle, I get ace jack of hearts in middle position. Blinds are 250, 500 with 75 antes. I open to 1200. It folds back to the big blind, who is a relatively new player at our table. He's a young German pro with a huge stack of around 60,000. He 3-bets to 4,250. I've got a few options here. One is that I could fold and wait for a better spot against one of the weaker opponents at the table. This hand is in the middle of my range, so there's no shame in letting it go. The second option is that I could call for around 3,000 more to see a flop in position with a hand that plays pretty well. Not bad either. Instead, I go a different route. My sense is that he's a good aggressive player that could be putting on a play since he has a big stack and can afford to make some moves. I'm kind of an ideal target to 3-bet light because I have a medium-sized stack at this point. You don't really want to be bluffing small or large stacks generally, and I imagine people might perceive me as having a somewhat wide opening range. I 4-bet shove, thinking that he's going to be able to fold a huge percentage of the time, and as long as he doesn't have aces, I'll have at least a 30% chance of winning when I do get called. The player basically snaps, and I've never wanted to record a hand less in my life. I knew no matter what I was going to have some explaining to do. I reluctantly hit the record button, and the player said that he'd seen some of my vlogs and was nice enough to hold up his cards for you guys to see. He's got ace-king offsuit, but more importantly, he looks exactly like a young Christoph Waltz. I actually spent about 3 hours doing some research looking for a picture of a young Christoph Waltz, and I finally found one. I'm almost certain they're the same guy. Okay, just kidding. It actually only took like 30 seconds to find this picture. Google Images is great. Enough about Christoph Waltz though. Our tournament life is on the line. We've only got about a 30% chance of winning. The dealer, who is now a dear friend of mine, puts out a jack on the flop, bless his little heart. The turn is a queen, giving young Christoph a few more outs. The river is a 4, and we've officially doubled up. This was a big mistake I made, and I was happy to win, but also somewhat embarrassed to get it in for 50 big blinds with ace-jack of hearts. I usually don't enjoy making bad plays that end up getting lucky. I actually felt bad for young Christoph. He stayed cool as a cucumber though, and didn't show that he was upset at all about losing, probably because he knew he had a giant whale at his table.
Not something I really want to share on the vlog, but yeah, I mean, it happened. Kid was really nice, and you know, he didn't seem to mind. He actually recovered really well, but I mean, he should have around like 80K. My whole stack should be his right now. Got lucky.
A few rounds later, in level 8, we get ace-jack offsuit in the cutoff. A player in middle position limps in. I've got a hand that I want to play, and usually when I'm first or second in the pot, I raise. That's what I do here. I make it 2,000, folds back to the limper who calls. The flop comes king, queen, 9 with 2 spades. Not a bad flop. We've got a gut shot straight draw with 1 over and a backdoor flush draw. The player checks. Usually when people limp in from middle position, I put them on something like suited connectors or small pocket pairs. I'm the pre-flop aggressor, and this flop doesn't connect well with the range I put him on, so I put out a small c-bet of 1,800. He folds, and we take it down. We come back from the last break of the night. It's level 9. Blinds are 400, 800 with 100 chip antes. I look down at pocket 10s in the hijack. Under the gun +1 opens to 1,700. The player to his left calls. The action is now on me. I could call, but I've got a good hand in position and prefer to be the aggressor when I'm in a hand, so I 3-bet to 5K. It folds back to the original pre-flop raiser who calls. The player to his left also calls. We go 3 ways to the flop, and it's jack 9 deuce. Both players check to me. This is kind of a tricky spot. Either of them could reasonably have hit this flop. In case they have overcards or underpairs to the board, I fire a small bet of 6,000. This gets the job done. Both players fold, and I take it down again. In the last hand we're going to go over, I get pocket queens in middle position. A player with a short stack raises to 2,000 from under the gun +1. I 3-bet to 5,500. The player to my direct left just flats. It folds back around to the initial pre-flop raiser, and instead of getting it in, he flats, leaving himself with 5,500. The flop comes ace 9-9, player under the gun +1, slides in his stack. I don't think he's bluffing, but with a player behind me, I don't feel comfortable calling anyway. I lay it down, the player behind me folds, and the winner turns over his hand. It's ace-jack of hearts. After that, we went into level 10. I couldn't win a hand in this level, but still ended up bagging a decent amount going into day 2 in the middle of the pack.
Just bagged 46.7K. Coming back tomorrow with about an average stack, I'd say. 2,000 people are coming back, and top 1,000 get paid. Got some work to do. Hopefully I can run well and at least make the money.
That's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, be on the lookout for day 2 of the monster stack. I promise that's one that you're not going to want to miss. It was the most fun I've ever had playing in a tournament, and you're going to find out why. Also, if you're looking to improve in cash games or tournaments, check out crushlivepoker.com. It's run by Bart Hansen. He's super good. He's been having a busy summer. He's cashed in 4 events already, and I'm sure he's going to cash in a few more. There's plenty of articles, podcasts, and videos on there. It's super cool. And then also check out the site my brother and I have up. It's offthefelt.com. So link below in the description box for both of those. Check them out. That's it for this episode, guys. Hope you're doing well, and good luck at the tables. All right, we're here with Jeff Boski. It's June 24th. He played the monster stack. I'm playing tomorrow. I'm here because I just pre-registered. And what was your experience like today?
It was a stinky experience.
Yeah.
Again, body odor is an epidemic. These people don't care. Armpits need deodorant. It's 110 degrees outside. You're gonna sweat. You're gonna sweat every time you go and put a bet into the pot. If you're not fully showered and deodorized, you're gonna stink. Some more than others. This guy was out of control. I called the floor. They came right as I got 4-outed to eliminate myself. And I guess they solved the problem then, but it didn't really matter.
So it didn't go well.